to Inquiring Minds. My name is Doug, back with today's fountain pen review of 3 big-ass pens.
This is terrible! Do something! Why didn't somebody tell me my ass was so big?
I know I lose half of my viewers whenever I play my guitar or natter on incessantly before getting down to the point. So you're going to either screw off and watch TikTok to satisfy your 8-second attention span, or you're actually going to be true Inquiring Minds, and you will want to hear my fascinating story about how I got my hands on these 3 big-ass fountain pens. Last week, my wife Wynn and I attended the first in-person meetup of the Calgary Pen Club since the pandemic, at least the first I've attended. And we met a group of wonderful people who are also fountain pen nerd misfits like me. Well, we may be pen nerds, but at least our club meetings don't look like this. And I see Janice, and I see Claudia. Hi, Claudia. And I see Mikey, and I see Stephen, and Warren, and Jack, and Peter, and Dr. Stephen Brown. Although I never got to talk to Dr. Brown because he just kept doing this and saying, "Shh, Doug, adults are speaking." And of course, I see Murray. Those of you who watch my channel may recall Murray as the grand exalted imperial poobah of the Calgary Pen Club.
It's amazing, Barney. Must be that kooky hat he's wearing.
And was the object of some light-hearted ribbing from me when I timed how long he allowed me to hold his Mont Blanc 146. For the record, it was 16 seconds. Murray would like all of you to know, for the record, that the only reason the Mont Blanc was only in my hands for 16 seconds was that he was constantly giving me pens to try. That's true. And Murray continued his exuberance about his fountain pens at the Saturday meetup by not even allowing me to get my coat off before he thrust this incredible Namiki Yukari Royale in vermilion urushi lacquer into my hand. And it wasn't more than a few minutes before I had not only the Namiki, but this Sailor, King of Pen, and this Pelikan M1005 Streisman in my hands as well. Murray was offering even more pens for me to review, but I had to beg off, claiming that I'd have to add a rider to my house insurance if I took any more of his pens with me. So I'm going to try to get my hands around these 3 big-ass fountain pens so generously on loan to me from the Calgary Pen Club's GEIP, Murray McKay, right now. So these 3 fountain pens belonging to Murray weren't the only ones I brought home from the Calgary Pen Club outing last Saturday. Pen friend Janice Butterworth, who generously loaned her 3 Bennu fountain pens for my last triple pen review, also loaned me this gorgeous Esterbrook Oversize Esty in this beautiful honeycomb acrylic. I've been looking at this pen online for a while now, wanted to see and feel one in person. So watch for that review coming soon, because this is one gorgeous fountain pen. So that made 4 pens from the meeting. But Wynn and I kept driving after the meeting and visited the antique shop where I picked up a bunch of vintage fountain pens last summer and came away with a number of future Pen Resurrection Sunday possibilities. Here are 2 mid to late 1930s Schaefer balances in the short, slender size, one with a number 33 14-karat gold nib in marine green celluloid, and one with a 5-30 14-karat gold nib in carmine celluloid. Then I got this 1920s Parker black hard rubber button filler with a number 2 14-karat gold nib. You can see how black the black hard rubber is under the discolored cap and barrel. And then I brought home another Esterbrook. This is a 1950 Esterbrook M2 aerometric with a 2668 steel nib. And finally, there was this very unusual Schaefer student pen from the early 60s. It's a cartridge pen, but has a steel version of the Imperial Touchdown inset nib. It looks like the Canadian plant stuck the front of an Imperial Touchdown on the barrel of a cartridge converter pen and added the steel inset nib instead of the gold. So lots of pens to look forward to coming up. But let's finally get to these 3 big-ass pens in question for the 20% of viewers remaining. Thanks for sticking with me through all the geeky pen nerdiness. And of course, now I only have time for a brief overview of these 3 incredible pens. and they are three of the most sought after, most glorified, and most expensive fountain pens this YouTube pen reviewer has ever seen. I've written with all three for at least an hour, if not more, each. At the bottom here is my Pelikan M800. But let's take a look at the big red Namiki first. By itself, it totally looks like a Namiki Emperor, the crown jewel of the Namiki Pilot Pen Company. I was mistaken when I first saw it as well. But this is not an Urushi lacquer over ebonite pen. This is the vermilion Urushi lacquer over brass Yukari Royale. I know, the name sounds like a French Big Mac.
You know what they call a quarter pounder with cheese in Paris?
And what do they call it?
They call it Royale with cheese.
Royale with cheese.
That's right.
It is also quite a bit smaller than the Emperor and has the smaller number 20 18-karat gold nib, although it can be purchased with the number 50 Emperor nib instead. This is a large fountain pen. It's on the scale of a Mont Blanc 149. I don't have a 149, but the Jinhao X159, wherever it might be, is identical in size to the 149, and here they are right beside each other, and you can see that they are very close in size. The Yukari is of course heavier because it's brass and not resin. It is also a cartridge converter rather than the Japanese style eyedropper of the Emperor. It has a large pilot style, fairly stiff Namiki branded ball clip and a single small gold cap band. It's very understated, elegant, and impressive. The cap comes off with 2 rotations to reveal the red Urushi lacquer over brass tapering section and the number 20 18-karat gold nib and black plastic feed. The number 20 Namiki nib is the same size as the Pilot number 15 nib, but has a different shape. The Namiki nib is simply gorgeous, with the engraved curved line forming the top of Mount Fuji and the squiggly line under representing the snow cap. Then we have the Namiki pentagonal logo, Namiki 18K750 for the gold content, and a B in brackets for broad. There's a Pilot hallmark on one side and the numerals 622 on the other shoulder, meaning this pen was made in June of 2022. The inside of the cap has a black plastic cap liner, and you don't post this pen for 2 reasons. 1, it might mar the Urushi lacquer, and B, the pen is already long enough and heavy enough unposted. It weighs 28 grams unposted and 45 grams with the cap on. The barrel unscrews to reveal the included Pilot Con 70 converter. The pen sells for $1,600 US, which is a gajillion dollars in Canadian.
1 billion, gajillion, fifillion, million.
Plus shipping and DHL extortion fee, of course. The balance and feel of this pen is extraordinary. I have medium hands, and this pen just nestles into my hand and says, "No, don't give me back to Murray. I want to stay with you."
All right, guys, you have to go back. I can't afford you. No, don't send us away. We love you. I love you too, but you cost more than my rent.
So this is Pilot's big-ass red pen, although not as big as they grow them.
Sorry, Ken. Your ass is gigantic and red. Who am I going to pretend you are? Liza Minnelli?
So let's move on to the other big-ass pen maker, Sailor. And they've modestly called their biggest pen the King of Pen. It sounds like a superhero, doesn't it? I am the King of Pen. And this is one lovely turquoise green color in the Pro Gear style. Sailor has 2 body styles, the 1911 and the Pro Gear. The flat top version is the Pro Gear. It's a resin pen with flat top and bottom finials and the Sailor logo anchor on the top finial. The clip is very springy and usable, and there is a very wide and deeply engraved chrome metal cap band that has Sailor Japan, founded 1911, as well as some really nice coin style reading at the top and the bottom. And there is a small chrome ring separating the end finial from the barrel and the flat bottom of the end finial. This is a thick pen. The cap is 18 millimeters at the widest point, and the barrel is 15.3 millimeters at the widest point. The cap unscrews with 2 rotations to reveal the short but thick section and the massive number 9 size 21 karat gold nib and black plastic feed. The inside of the cap has a rotating plastic liner that moves with the pen and also cups the end of the bottom finial so that the cap threads don't touch the barrel as you post the pen. Very nice indeed. You might actually be able to see that cap liner turning in there as I turn the cap and the barrel. The nib is gorgeous and has the sailor scrollwork 1911, 21K 850, Japan, and an M for medium on the shoulder. Because the KOP isn't a long pen and the cap posts deeply and securely, it doesn't make it too long in the hand even though it's a big pen, and that cap weighs hardly anything, so it doesn't offset the balance that much, and the pen is plenty long enough to write with in the hand unposted. The barrel unscrews to reveal the included Sailor proprietary converter and the unusually long metal section nozzle, which has an ink window built into it so you can see the ink levels. And there's a silicone O-ring there to keep the barrel from unscrewing during use. This pen retails for $880 US, although I can't find it currently in this semi-translucent green color. And finally, the pièce de résistance, for me anyway, the Pelikan M1005 Streisman, and this is a piston filler. If you've followed me at all, you'll know that I love my Pelikan M800 in this blue and black stripe. I've lusted after the M1005 Streisman, but never even seen one in person, let alone held one, until Murray's was passed down the table past the beer and fish tacos. I snatched it up immediately. The pen, I mean, not the tacos. This is Pelikan's top of the line. Their Souverain shift, if you will. This model in this finish seems to be no longer available from Pelikan. You can get them in green stripe or black, but this Streisman anthracite stripe is only available now on the M805, the M605, and the M405 models. The anthracite stripe gets its name from Gustav Streisman, Germany's Weimar Republic foreign minister, and his trendy pinstripe trousers from his morning lounge suit called a stroller in England, and that suit was preferred by statesmen like Winston Churchill. This classic Pelikan is just slightly thicker and longer than the M800. The 05 in the model name means silver trim, and the 00 means gold trim. The stripe barrel is made of cellulose acetate and has alternating bands of transparent black and solid bands of the anthracite color, making part of the barrel translucent so you can see your ink levels. As I understand it, Pelikan is removing this feature from new pens. Bravo, Pelikan. The top finial is crowned with the Pelikan logo of a pelican with its chick, and then we have the Pelikan's bill-shaped clip, which is just perfection. The black plastic cap is straight to 2 silver cap bands, one that says Pelikan Souverain Germany. Souverain is German for sovereign. The barrel is straight to 2 silver rings which separate the black plastic piston knob from the barrel, and there's the domed end of the piston knob. The cap unscrews with 3/4 of a turn to reveal the black plastic section with a rounded flare and a single silver band towards the number 9 size 18 karat gold rhodium plated nib and black plastic feed. The cap has a ledge inside it that meets up with the section to seal the nib. The pen is plenty long enough in the hand, unposted, and the cap posts deeply and securely. Pelikan Souverain pens post better than most fountain pens in the world, in my opinion. They're up there with the Parker 51 and Parker 45. The pen does become a bit long in the hand posted, however. My M800 is on the borderline for me, and I use it both ways, both posted and unposted. But that's the only way I'm a switch hitter. The M1005 is a piston filler and has a capacity of 1.51 milliliters. This pen retails for $832 US for the green stripe or the basic black models. Now let's look at some size comparisons of these 3 pens. And here are the Yukari Royale, the Sailor King of Pen Pro Gear, and the Pelikan M1005 Streisman with a Jinhao X159 as the poor man's stand-in for the Mont Blanc 149, and with a Pilot Metropolitan for scale. I told you, they're big-ass pens. And let's look at them posted. And here they are posted, except for the Yukari Urushi, which should never be posted under any circumstances. Now let's look at them unposted. And here they are unposted. You can see the King of Pen is actually even shorter than the Metropolitan unposted. And now let's look at some measurements, and I'll be back with a writing sample. And we're back with the writing portion of the review. This is Clairefontaine 90 GSM paper, and let's write with each of these three pens. The nibs on each of these three pens are spectacular. Here is the Namiki, Yukari. I thought I'd be able to get through. I've used up quite a bit of this ink. I thought I might have to refill it before I did the writing sample, but if it dries out, I might have to refill this. I told you I've been writing with this a lot. It's the Royale, and it has a number 20, 18 karat gold nib. And the ink, what remains of it, is Iroshizuku Seal Roll. I don't know whether I'm pronouncing that correctly. And this nib makes a 0.5 millimeter line horizontally and a 0.7 millimeter line vertically, and has some really nice bounce to it, and is very, very juicy. That's why it's been using up so much ink. And there's, as you can probably hear, a good amount of feedback. I am running out of ink. And I ran out of ink. And now for the Sailor King of Pen Pro Gear. Sailor King of Pen Pro Gear with a 21 karat gold number 9 size nib, and this is a medium. Let's go back. This is a broad nib, and the ink in the Sailor is a Iroshizuku Jaku, and this is decently wet and makes a 0.4 millimeter vertical line and a 0.5 millimeter horizontal line, and has some decent bounce to it. And finally, the Pelikan M1005 Streisman, and it has a number 9 size 18 karat medium nib, and this is a big wet pen, and it has a good amount of feedback as well, and a lot of bounce to it. This is surprising. I said wow when I first picked up this pen. And the ink here is Iroshizuku again, Konpeki, my favorite ink. And we can see that Mr. McKay has some excellent taste in inks as well as big pens. This nib makes a 0.8 millimeter line vertically and a 0.5 millimeter line horizontally, and has incredible soft bounce to it and tons of line variation. And as you can see, it's indecently wet. The skipping isn't the part of the pen, it's the fact that I'm running these pens out of ink. They're so juicy, and I've been writing with them so much. This nib actually surprised me, as my Pelikan M1005 has a wonderful 18 karat gold nib with a slight amount of bounce to it, but nowhere near the bounce of this number 9 size, humongous 18 karat gold Pelikan nib. This nib is marked a medium, but it feels more like a broad to me. And imagine what the Pelikan broad writes like. So I just fell in love with this pen. So what are my opinions on these 3 extraordinary writing instruments? Well, folks, you see here in front of you 3 grail-worthy pens all on one page. To absorb the experience of writing with these 3 wonderful pens for the last week is a bit overwhelming. The sticker shock alone can skew your objectivity about the writing experience. You don't buy these pens with petty cash, you know.
There you go. There you go. Thank you, sir. There you go. There you go.
But you also don't have to pay retail for them. I don't know what Murray paid for these 3 incredible fountain pens, but I know that at least the Pelikan wasn't purchased new. Once you get into the realm of a fountain pen that is priced like a Mont Blanc 149, you're purchasing luxury items. Pens that sell for more than $1,000 are more like jewelry or works of art. But these 3 pens, and I'd argue the Mont Blanc 149 should be included here, are principally writing instruments. They should be functional above all else, and they all excel at that. Yes, you're paying a premium for the workmanship, the detail, and these incredible big-ass gold nibs. But they are writers, and they should be full of ink and used to make lines on paper more than they're kept in glass cases for display only. Of the 3, I personally prefer the Streisman. It is all I hoped it would be. But the vermilion urushi on this Namiki Yukari is something you have to see and touch to believe. And the Sailor King of Pen is a very practical pen that is nice and thick and nicely balanced in the hand, both posted and unposted. Certainly it's the most practical everyday writer of the 3. And there you have it. Thanks go out to pen friend and fountain pen collector extraordinaire Murray McKay for the exceedingly generous act of trust in loaning these incredible fountain pens for review. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell to get instant notifications whenever a new video is posted. And please look in the description for a link to Goldspot pens, as I'm now an affiliate of the online store, and when you shop at Goldspot using my link, you'll be supporting my channel as well at no extra charge to you. You can also join as a member of my channel for only 99 cents a month, and I guarantee I'll answer your comments in the comments section, and you'll get cool emojis, badges, and sneak peek unboxing videos as well. And that just leaves it for me to say thank you for watching. And that's all she wrote.